So we're going to run through a Cisco Live example, which Bonny's going to do, really. What I'm going to do, what I hope to do, is pick up some of the themes from Paul, Ray, and Claire's presentations and try and draw them all together into where the meetings industry, where the event industry or the brand experience industry is going, or where it is now. So I'm going to talk about the event landscape for an hour and a half. Is it an hour and a half? 5 minutes? God. Clients say, what are they like? Right, so where I come from and where we come from at GPJ is the experience is the marketing. There is nothing else. The things you see, the things you do, all add up to the marketing, and that's the experience. So a bit about George P. Johnson before we set off. As Claire said, you've got to establish your credentials for speaking. So George P. Johnson, 99 years old, started by a guy, funnily enough, called George P. Johnson. Big party next year, you're all invited. Size isn't important, as my mum kept telling me. So George P. Johnson is pretty big. We do about 6,800 events a year. We spend $500 million in third parties, so guys like you, we spend $500 million a year doing events, and we're going to turn over 1.7 billion this year. So big-ish. And we're sort of everywhere. So in terms of where you're competing, these are the places we look for. So you're not competing with Glasgow versus Edinburgh versus Aberdeen, it's actually versus Leipzig versus Beijing. And we were ranked #1 agency 4 straight years by Advertising Age. That's all very well, but picture is worth 1,000 words. Let's see what that looks like. Who the heck am I? So, I'm not him. Although I wouldn't mind being him. I'm not him. Who knows this guy? Hands? Ooh. Seth Godin, marketing genius. He's been my guru for about 20 years. He's written all those books. You need to follow his daily blog. He does a blog every single day of his life. I tried it for 2.5 years. It's exhausting. But I am this guy. So I was voted 4th most influential person in the event industry last year. And actually, it's starting again, so I'm going to send you the thing to vote for me this year. And I'm a bit like this guy. Girls? What? Laughing? So, Benjamin Button, who knows the film? Good. So he was born at 87, he got younger as he got older, if you see what I mean. So here's me in the 80s. I love that tie. Pierre Cardin hand-painted original. Cost me a week's wages. So that's me when I was in the hotel industry. This is me when I was in the advertising industry, 90s. And this is me in the 2000s. I don't know, I think I was in the egg marketing industry at that time. I put on a bit of weight there. But actually, what does that mean? It means I've been around a while and I've seen a few things. But it means I've worked with all of these brands. And actually, that's what this is all about. We're all in brand marketing. It said George P. Johnson don't do events. We don't. We do brand activations. You work with brands. You don't work with companies. You are a brand, individually and collectively. I'm a bit like this guy. I believe in enthusiasm. I believe in energy, because I think it's transferable. I believe it can conquer any, so I must be a baby boomer, according to Dr. Paul. This is my mantra. If you don't like change, you're in the wrong business, whatever business you're in, because it's going to change again, and what we need to do is just keep adapting, keep moving, because it will change tomorrow. There is no point in moaning and groaning about it. And I'm a bit like this guy. So I'm blind in one eye, got really, really bad eyesight in the other eye, so if I don't say hello, I'm blind. And I'm this guy. You can look at the signs, you can see that there's been a recession, you can see that the world is in turmoil, but actually there's still business to be done, and there are still things happening out there. You just have to make it happen for yourself. So in terms of the event landscape, we used to believe all these things. On the left-hand side, conspicuous consumption. We don't do that anymore. It's bad to consume like that. We have to be seen to be frugal. It used to be about info overload. Information was pumped out there, and all we had to do was look at it. Now, we have the choice, info on demand. We used to trust in institutions. We used to believe that banks knew what they were talking about. Dr. Paul's still waiting for his expenses to be cashed. We know they don't know what they're talking about. Now, we believe in social networks. And that's not social networking. That's the power of the people around us. We're always asking questions. Who, what, why? To the people around you, your peers, your colleagues. It used to be about brands pushing. Now it's about brand advocacy. We used to think unemployment was coming round and round, and it was cyclical. Now it's pervasive. It's always with us. We used to give up control to those that we thought knew better. Now we've taken control. We question everything. Doctors, politicians, United Airlines. So in the communication world, it's meant a lot of things. And where we sit in the brand world, these things are now true. They're not next year, year after, they're now and happening now. So it used to be about push. You just found an ad, you pushed it out there, someone was going to look at it and your brand would be successful. Now consumers have choice. They're pulling information. TV on demand, TiVo, Sky Plus. It used to be about quantity. Just make it, you'll sell it. Now it's about quality. It used to be about buying media, and as we've already heard 3 times today, now it's about creating experiences. You never forget an experience you've had. Fact. What we have to do is create great experiences. It used to be about demanding attention. One of Seth's book is permission marketing. It used to be brands shout, hey, me. It's not like that anymore. Now we're giving attention. There's a way of consumers and colleagues and buyers deciding who and when they listen to you. Now we have to offer attention. There's a way of talking back. Used to be about just talking, now it's about listening. Used to be about awareness, and now what brands want more than anything, and the reason experiences are so important, because now it's about relationships. That's what's important. It's important in the real world, in your daily personal life. It's important in the brand world. But as humans, we haven't changed at all. Yeah, we've got all that technology. Yeah, the world's changed. But we still want the same things. We want to be good fathers and mothers. We want to be good brothers and sisters. We want to be good at our job. We want to give our best. So those things are still the same. We want to be entertained. We want to be immersed. We want to belong. It's just been made easier to do that. I think of brands as people with personalities. And you've got to decide what your brand stands for and where it is in the world. So is it the thing that is going to bring information? Are you going to make people smile on a daily basis? Are you going to show them things that they love about the world? Those things are important to us as humans, and brands are no different. That is where experience come in. Because if you look at the weight of information out there and the weight of communication out there, 90% of people still judge brands by the experiences they have. Only 10% listen to the advertising and the marketing because they know they're trying to sell. It's all about the experience you create. That's why experiences are so important. We don't believe what we're told anymore. You can, buy a toaster on Amazon and listen to the guy in Texas who bought the same toaster. You'd rather believe him than the brand that's spending millions of pounds to market it. It's about personal recommendation. It's about word of mouth. And we're in conversations about brands every day of the week. People are talking about brands all of the time. 76% of consumers said word of mouth is their most important purchasing decisions. Not the advertising, not the marketing, word of mouth. Do you know someone who's done this? Was it good? That's why experiences are important. That's why events are important, because they drive word of mouth. There is no other way of driving word of mouth like that. And even social media needs content to be created. That's driven by experiences, by events. So the experience is the marketing, and that's what we do. We create compelling experiences that bring brands and their most important audiences together. It's the experience, and you guys are one of the touch points in that experience, and you have to understand where you fit in that thing. It's not just about hot tea, hot coffee. It's about creating a globally world-class, a global experience. So man is defined by his actions, and so are brands. There's a whole mythology about doing rather than telling. Don't tell me you love me, show me you love me. All of those things are important because we value doing rather than saying. It doesn't matter what you say, you can say anything. You can tell any lie on your CV. But when you get in the job, you've got to be able to do it. You can tell anything in advertising, but when you buy the product, it's got to do what you say it's going to do. So it doesn't matter what you say, it matters what you do. And that's important for you guys. Doesn't matter what promises you make, it matters what you deliver. And if you can't get people to believe in God without giving them £10 of free potatoes, then really you're not living your brand. So a brand is a set of promises. And what you do, your behavior, is how you keep those promises. That's what's important. That's why experiences are so important. It's the fastest growing marketing discipline outside of social media because it's creating the content for social. And all the things you do in your hotels and convention centers, those are the things that people are talking about. Those are the things that people are tweeting about. As my old mate Jeff says, if you build a great experience, customers will tell each other about it. That's what is important today. People telling other people they've had a great time. They've had a great experience. And as Claire said, one of the things Claire said, the value of experiences. We've been doing this research forever. And we know 70% of people that live through an experience buy more stuff. And that's why brands do it. 66% tell people or change the way they feel about it. 82% become more engaged around that brand. 85% talk and tell others. It doesn't matter whether it's blogging, social media, or just word of mouth. We're driving that word of mouth because the experience is the marketing. Nothing else matters. Because engagement doesn't happen there on that poster, and it doesn't happen on TV. It happens in your head. And those people lucky enough to go to Depeche Mode tonight at the Hydro, I'm not one of them. It doesn't matter whether there's 12,000 people in there, because the thing about experience is they're all individual. I think Paul was saying earlier, they're all filtered through your own experience. So Depeche Mode might be singing to 12,000 people, but you feel like they're singing to you. You feel like I'm talking to you. I can't even see you. That's why experiences are so important, because they become personal. They become personal to us. They're emotional, and they're drivers of action. And I don't know if you know this example, and I love this example because everything Steve Jobs did was great, but back in 2001 when he launched the Apple Store, Business Week told him it was going to be rubbish. But actually, they hadn't conceived of the Apple Store in the way that he had conceived of the Apple Store. So his idea of creating a brand experience was completely different to anything else that had ever gone, and now we accept it as being what it is, but it was revolutionary. But just the things they do. So these 70 guys are employed in the States, and they've got them here as well. So these 70 guys don't do anything but whoop and holler when you come out of the store in a new opening. So they stand in the street and they say, "Well, you're the man. Hey, come on." Buyer's remorse, cognitive dissonance. You buy something, girls do it all the time with haircuts. Hairdressers, oh my God, I went to the hairdresser, look at this thing, it's terrible. You feel bad about it, it's called cognitive dissonance. You do that with products. You're spending $300 or $400 on an Apple product. You don't think you should have made that. But these guys are outside telling you you've made the best decision of your life. Because you're the man. Girls, imagine if that was outside the hairdressers. We'd love that. And imagine the bravery. So I try and put myself in the shoes of the guy that sold this idea to Apple. Okay, we're going to employ 70 guys. Yeah, okay, what are they going to know about the product? Well, they're not really going to have any knowledge of the product. What are they going to do in terms of sales ROI? Well, they're not really going to, what are they going to do? They're going to cheer guys that have already bought the stuff. What? You're mental. So, the best electrical retailer in the world is Best Buy. $930 per square foot of retail space. The best retailer in the world is Tiffany. $2,666 per square foot of retail space. Now, it's just to prove that brand experience isn't soft and fluffy. And all the things that you do in the hotels and convention centre across Scotland, it's not that soft and fluffy stuff. It's the important stuff because it drives ROI. So you know it's going to be big because I wouldn't be building it up if it wasn't. So 4,032 per square foot of retail space to create a brand experience, to create something that no one else has got, to do things in a way that no one else has done, to build an experience that is completely personal and emotional. And look at guys. I'm not an Apple person, but Apple guys are evangelical about the brand. They won't have a word said about it. They love everything about it. That's what you want. So the experience is the marketing. Now, we have a process. I'm just going to share this with you before I hand over to Bonny. We have a process, and all agencies have a process. Dale, who's here, and Rick, who's here, from other agencies have process. We all do that. There's a process for getting to a solution. So ours is called 4Ds, genius. Discover, define, design, deliver. So that's good and it helps us. But the thing that really floats my boat about us, and the thing, if you remember nothing of what I'm saying, it's this. So we have this process. We call it strategic experience mapping. It's actually an audience mapping tool. And what we do at the beginning when we get a brief is we sit with the client, and it doesn't matter how many of the clients are in the room. We like as many as you can get, 10, 12, because there's always different stakeholders. There's sales, and there's marketing, and there's event, and there's comms and there's HR, and sometimes those people don't even know what they're looking for. And we do this thing with them. It takes half a day, takes an hour, takes 2 days, depending on where the timeline is. So what do we want the audience to feel, think, know, and do as a result of going through this experience? The whole campaign, from start to finish, all the touch points, pre, during, post, as you call it, the whole campaign, including hotel. What do we want them to feel, think, know, and do, and how are we going to get them to feel, think, know, and do that thing? The beauty of this thing is it gets everyone aligned. All the clients then understand what the objectives of the event is, and I know Claire was talking about managing client expectations. There is no better way of getting all clients in the same place. It doesn't matter what department you are, they all want something different. But we capture all that. But the important thing here is the do. What do we want this audience to do? Because that's a business need. You know, events, conferences, is it a business need? It ends up being a business need, but what we want them to buy more. We want them to advocate. We want them to go to the website. We can find a way of measuring that thing. Whatever that thing is, if you've got do and some objectives, you've got measurable ROI. And that's what's important. You need some actions and you need some measurement. Not was the coffee hot, was the food good, was the room warm. Those aren't important in and of themselves. Of course, they're important to the experience. But in terms of driving results, what do we want them to do? No MD or CEO shouts out of his office, get me a conference. They don't think like that. Reduce my costs, yeah. Get me more sales. Sack that guy over there, I hate him. They say that, usually at me. But it's not that. So through the lens of the company, somehow it gets down to a conference or event, but there's always a business need driving that thing. We need to know what that is. We, all of us, talking about all of us in the room, we need to know what's driving this thing so that we can provide an effective solution. And I think where we've gone in recent years, and we're coming to Cisco Live now, where we've gone is just to understand this was, how do we get more kids reading books? How do we get more kids reading? Because the devices were in there as well. We had sponsored by Nook. Campaign in London, which was Get London Reading. We turned it into Get Reading, and we had a festival of reading in Trafalgar Square. And it was like a rock concert of reading. So different artists came on and read books. You could follow along with the bouncing ball, but it's driving kids in schools reading. That was the objective, not let's do an event in Trafalgar Square. How do we get people to consider Mini when they don't buy cars? We put them in universities with an ambassador and we give someone a free car for a year. Not how do we do an event in universities, how do we sell more Minis? This thing has just launched today. That's why it's here. So we've just done this thing for Samsung, which is called Winner Takes Earth, which is a football match between Galaxy 11, Galaxy, the Samsung brand, and an Earth 11, yet to be, but it just launched 11/11/11, sorry. We did this thing in Hackney Marshes in London. We did another one in Times Square in New York, and we did another one projecting on Sugarloaf Mountain to drive people online. So the YouTube now has got, so that was yesterday, 2,257,000. That's what we want. It's connecting. It's not important the event, it's important the connections, the driving the word of mouth, creating a community. And that's what Cisco do so well. I've been the warm-up act. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Do you want me to hold your hand?
Yeah. So thank you, Kevin. If you've noticed, Kevin spoke for like 20 minutes. Set up for Cisco Live without really mentioning Cisco Live. Okay, so that's an interesting interpretation of Cisco Live presentation. But that's what I'm here for. Hi everyone, my name is Bonny Shapira, coming from Israel, not that far away. Even though some people don't know it that well. Just a quick story, when I left Israel, I went on the plane and the lady asked me, do you have a connecting flight? Because I came through London. And I said, yes, I'm going to Glasgow. She said, are you going to China? I don't know why she thought Glasgow is in China, but never mind. My idea within the next 2 hours, more or less, is to get you a client's perspective So going down from the theoretical or academic approach, let's say, that we heard more in the morning, but real down to earth, what I've experienced as a customer with my first real Cisco Live event last January in London. How many of you are familiar with Cisco Live? Attended Cisco Live in the past? Anyone? Yeah. Oh. Okay. You're all invited to Milan next January, which is where it's going to be next year. So my personal role in Cisco Live is last year I was responsible for the content at the event and also our presence on the show floor. We have a big exhibition floor there. And in the coming years, I will take over Cisco Live in general. So I'll be leading Cisco Live in Europe, or in EMEA, as we call it. Cisco Live is a very familiar education event that Cisco has been offering for the last 25 years across the board, I would say. We have an event in North America, Latin America, Australia, New Zealand, and in Europe. So 4 events throughout the year, attracting thousands of people, usually Cisco customers coming to learn and get educated about our products and solutions. So it's very technical focused events. The last 3 years, we ran the European event in London, in the Excel Center in London. We had 7,000 attendees, more or less. Next year, we're moving to Milan, the last week of January, in the Miko Center. We'll hold it in Milan for 2 years. The one thing that is most important from our perspective, in terms of kind of a magical formula, how to make an event work well and what are the major targets that we see in those events, is this formula. E plus E plus E equals L. Okay? I will not reveal the formula right now, but you will see exactly what it means during the presentation. But when we start planning for an event, like Cisco Live or like any other event, we first of all focus on our customer. Or, okay, so I might be the customer or the client of GPJ, but I also have clients, customers that are paying around $2,000 or euro for attending Cisco Live. Okay, it's not free. We're asking them to pay around $2,000 to attend this week of education seminar, and this is who we focus on. Okay, so when we start planning, we focus on our attendees. And this is, even though it's a bit not in focus, but you can see this is a typical Cisco Live attendee. Unlike the majority of the attendees today, which are women, fortunately, in our case for Cisco Live, we have 7,000 attendees. I would say 6,999 are men. Okay? There are not a lot of women, but still there are some. But a typical attendee is around 40 years of age, very technical savvy. So we're dealing with nerds, with geeks, okay? And that's a special type of, let's say, group of people that we need to focus on or to think when we plan the event, okay? Building up or planning an event for geeks is different than planning an event for youngsters or any other type of populations, okay? So we always bear in mind who is our typical, let's say, attendee or customer attending the event. Now, one question I would ask you is, if you need to answer this question, I cannot imagine life without one thing. What would this one thing be? And I will give you 4 options, but you might come up with others. So one option would be a cellular phone or mobile phone or just a phone, as Paul said. Another option would be internet. Another one would be a car. And another one would be my partner. Okay, do you have any other thing that pops up your mind? I thought of adding something specific for Scotland, which is whiskey, but I said I leave it aside for now. So this is a survey that we did in 14 different countries amongst people under the age of 30. And I will show you the results. So there are 4 numbers here. How many of them said, who said, what did go for 97%? Is it the phone, the internet, the car, or the partner? Sorry? Phone, yeah, that's right. Sorry. 84%? Internet? You're optimistic. And then 64% car, and only 43% said my current partner, my partner, okay? So taking this has nothing to do with Cisco Live, okay, but it's a very interesting figure, let's say. taking this to Cisco Live or to any other event, what we're asking ourselves, or what I'm asking myself when I start working with GPJ on an event, and when we start planning an event, once the event is over, we start planning for the next event. So almost a year long of preparations. So what we ask ourselves is, putting ourselves in the shoes or in the mind of a typical Cisco Live attendee, what he or she cannot imagine Cisco Live without something. What that something would be. Would it be internet connectivity? I mean, they all come, we have a week-long event with thousands of attendees. They all need, and again, they're all techies, savvies, so they need connectivity all the time, just like you here need it, or even more than that. If the network is down, that's a big shame on us, because we are the network provider of the world, let's say. Okay? So if we cannot make the network work on our event, we're in deep trouble. Is it internet? Is it the giveaways that we have? So we have a huge exhibition floor with Cisco demoing a lot of stuff, and there are around 100 sponsors, technology partners that present their stuff, and there's always a lot of giveaways in these shows. Are they coming for the giveaways? Are they coming for the party? So last year we have this party which is we call Customer Appreciation Event. The band was, I forgot the name? Yeah, Status Quo and his son. This is the son of the Status Quo singer. Actually, it was a very good party. Do they come for the party? Do they come for the products? Now, you won't believe, I'm sure most of you haven't seen Cisco Live exhibition or a technology exhibition from the eyes of an attendee where they come, they look at a new product, for example, like the one you see here, and they treat it as if it was the most precious thing they've ever seen in their lives. Really, they take pictures of it, they touch it. It's unbelievable. I mean, I found it quite amazing, okay? But for them, it's super important. So products, bring them real stuff to chat, tangible stuff, not fluffy videos or slides. As much as they can to touch the things. Is it because of the bag? There's this notion that in every Cisco Live or other conferences of that size, you get a bag. Now, usually, I find these bags quite ugly. But again, this is my personal perception. For some reason, they go crazy for the bags, okay? And they keep coming for more. But actually, this is the bag that we're going to have in June in Milan. So that's first time we expose it on stage. Or is it because of the food, the drinks that you find? Obviously, the last 3 years in London, people didn't come for the food. But that was in London. It's going to change in Milan, I hope. So we keep asking ourselves, what is it that they're coming for? I mean, they're being sent by their company. The company pays the $2,000 or whatever. They come for the week. How do we make their stay as enjoyable, as memorable, and as linked, let's say, with Cisco as possible? Okay, remember the formula, E plus E plus E equals L, and we will get to that in a second. Now, in Cisco, we're more or less 5 people in Europe or EMEA that are dealing with Cisco Live. Obviously, we cannot bring such a huge event on our own. It's all about partnership between us and you. It's GPJ, which is working with us for a lot of years on this event, and a lot of other companies through GPJ or directly with us to build this great week, educational week for our audience, for our customers. Okay, so it's all about partnership, and we treat our partners as truly partners. So I don't treat GPJ as kind of a provider. When I work GPJ on a daily basis with the GPJ people, I treat them like my team. Okay, so we're one big team, GPJ and Cisco working together on that. But it really goes down to the personal, I would say, relationship we have established, or we and GPJ have established together, Cisco and GPJ. And that's to the good thing to say about GPJ in general and the relationship that we've established with them. So let's go back to the equation. And now I'll reveal to you the secrets here, okay? So one of those 3 E is something that all the speakers that were here before me mentioned in their presentation. It's about experience, okay? But that's the last E. There are 2 other E's. The first one is education, and the second one is entertainment, okay? And these 3 together creates L, which is, any guess? No prizes. Exactly. Okay. They create loyalty. Okay. This is what we believe. Now let me get you through those 3 E's and the loyalty thing. So the first E is education. And I'm getting to specific examples that I've seen and experienced last year in Cisco Live London. So this is a typical what we call breakout room or presentation room. And we have 25 to 30 breakout rooms in any given Cisco Live event. In the US, it's even more. We had 30 of these in London in the Excel Center, a bit more in Milan, where we're going soon. And in any given moment throughout the week, there are 30 sessions going on simultaneously, okay, on different solutions and topics that Cisco is offering, so the attendees can choose their topics of their interest, whether it's security, wireless, storage, and other topics that I won't bore you with. Now, this is the main reason why they come for Cisco Live. Not for the bag, not for the party, not for the food. To get educated, and they get the education from the engineers of Cisco that have developed the products or the solutions or the Ethernet protocols. Okay, so they get the training from the people who invented that stuff, not from a trainee company that does it on a regular basis, but from the real people who are behind those products. Okay, so that's worthless. It's worth way more, let's say, than the $2,000 that they pay for that. Now, just to set up this room, there's a lot of backstage work to do that, and some of you probably know that. Okay, so we say that in Cisco Live, CK. What is CK? It's not Calvin Klein, even though I took it from Googling Calvin Klein. It's content is king, okay? So the most important thing in our event is the content, okay? And we have to treat it like that, which means we make no compromises when it comes to the content, to the quality of the delivery of the content, and to the experience they have in a room. Which means usually what we would find is that with GPJ, with the creative team of GPJ and the AV team of GPJ, we will probably come into the room in any venue. We will do our checks on the audio and video systems, and in many cases, we will decide to bring, or GPJ will bring their own audio and video stuff, even though the system exists in the room, but we would replace it with better systems to deliver the best experience for the attendees. We've done it in the past, we are going to do it also in Milan. So we have to invest an additional fund in order to provide the best quality or the best experience, let's say, in terms of educational experience for the attendees. An example from last year is that we had to build a couple of extra rooms because there were not enough rooms in the area that we rented in the Excel. So instead of just pulling up drapes from the ceiling like we did 2 years ago and have sound issues because sound was transferring from one room to the other, we built 8 soundproof rooms with an extra investment of 200,000 euros just for that week. Okay, I know some of your guys did a lot of extra work on that, okay? Now then we had other issues with those rooms. They were so good in soundproof, but there was too hot inside. Then we had to bring in some solution for that, but then again, it's another story. So my bottom line here is that from an educational perspective, there's a lot of backstage work that needs to be done. And this is not something that Cisco does on its own. We use GPJ and their contractors to do that, okay? So there's a lot of work that we expect from you to realize. And another example, projection system or the heating in the room. Okay, these are basic stuff. But if the room is too hot or too cold, or if the projector is wobbling, which is a new word that I learned during Cisco Live, yeah, it's a very interesting one, I would expect the AV guy or the sound guy in the room to report someone that would report someone and that this would be fixed. What I found myself and my manager doing in London last year is that I had to go through each of the rooms to check that myself and find some troubles. So interesting story. In one of the rooms, the projector was wobbling, so the screen kept moving all the time. I went back and checked with the AV guys, and they said, yeah, we spoke with the Excel, and they told us it's because people are walking on the floor above us. So, okay, that's interesting, you know, because we are on the top floor. So how come? And for them, it sounded okay, that they gave him an excuse, so okay, everything is good. Which means, so we are in this partnership with our providers, service providers, okay, we're all in it together. So it's not, I'm not the only, let's say Cisco is not the only responsible for that. We're all responsible for the experience of the attendees together. And if the presenter has worked on his slides and is a great presenter, or she's a great presenter, if the room is too hot, or if the projector is wobbling, then the whole experience gets deteriorated, okay? And it all comes down together to this one big experience. The second thing is about entertainment. And by the way, all the pictures here are from Cisco Live in last January, okay? And they've been taken by Shen Obsworth, which is the company that does those pictures for us. Just example of some cool entertainment that we've had. Like we brought to the customer appreciation event a real beach volleyball court with players from the UK team that were trying to fundraise some money for their participation in the Olympics. And we gave people playing with them. So it starts from basic plain entertainment or some technology, let's say, entertainment, like the Bloodhound project, that they have a car simulation on the show floor, or even better, a Cisco product entertainment, which is what they call the coconut shy, where you have to throw those balls on 3 Cisco routers or routers, whatever you call them, and knock them down, okay? So all kinds of crazy ideas to get them more excited, more into this overall feeling of not just education, it's a lot about entertainment. And the last point is all about experience. Okay, how was my experience during the event? Was lunch easy to find? Was it clear where my rooms are? Because this is a big event with, again, at any given moment, more than 30 different events are going on. Sessions, exhibitions, labs, a lot of stuff is going on at the same time, so people need to clearly find their way to the right place and have a clear agenda. Okay, so in this case, we're using an example of this clear lunch sign saying, where's the lunch? But, okay, so I can see the lunch, it's very clear where lunch is. Now, what happens if I go there and I see this queue? Okay, so clearly somebody messed up with the preparations. In this case, that was the first day of our event last year. And someone, not from GPJ, from a different company, reported wrong number of attendees on that day. So we were short by 300 plates of food, let's say, for lunch. So we had this long queue outside the catering area. Now, at that moment, it struck me that no matter how good we do the content, if people need to wait for food, and immediately when they started tweeting and saying, oh, what's going on? People got nervous. This is really frustrating for me as well, okay? So again, it's all about preparation, leaving nothing for chance, having it all planned, make sure that the numbers are correct, everything is okay. And now you can see here, the people in the red jackets, these are from GPJ, so they are kind of taking care of the situation, okay? But again, in this case, a bit too late. Experience, it's all about what they take back home. Okay, if it's the giveaways that they see, the pictures they take, all kinds of stuff that they see on their badges, you see on the lanyards, all kinds of stuff that we give them to get them more into the atmosphere and the experience of Cisco Live. Using some, technology stuff, like last year we used this remote control wristbands that would lit up with specific words being said in the keynote. It was a kind of an interesting experience. It didn't work in the beginning, but then it worked, so all in all, it was good. And again, those 3 E's, education, entertainment, and experience, would create loyalty. Okay? Now, I'm not expecting all of you or all the Cisco Live attendees to really have this Cisco tattoo here, but I found it on the internet. I said I'll put it up. Okay? But the real idea is for us to create loyalty. The people that come to Cisco Live are already Cisco customers, okay? Most of them, if not all of them. But once they go out of Cisco Live, they have a better perception, a better understanding of our products and solutions, our vision, and a higher tendency to continue using our solutions and buy more from our solutions. Now, taking a look to the future, we have a theme in Cisco which is called Tomorrow Starts Here. We have a new brand positioning started last year, with a new brand campaign, which is called Tomorrow Starts Here, and the Internet of Everything, if anyone here heard about that. And that's the picture from the opening keynote we had last year. It's a 72-meter screen, wide screen, right, Kevin? And the theme was Tomorrow Starts Here. So my intention now is to give you a couple of directions where we see those type of events going through, what are the main focus areas or main trends that we see. And the first one, it's all about personalization, putting the customer in the center. And again, we said Tomorrow Starts Here, so all of this has already started, but it's going to be even to take more importance or more focus in the future years' events. It's all about personalization, putting the customer in the center. Okay, so this is a typical customer for Cisco Live. It's no more just one direction communication from us, the organizers, to the attendee. This is what you're going to say. This is what you're going to do. This is the agenda. It's more about trying to customize things based on their needs, based on his needs in this case. So if he's interested in a specific area within the broad stuff that Cisco has to offer, we will build a dedicated personalized agenda for him. And we have created kind of more than 60 personalized agendas based on their topic of interest. So if someone attends Cisco Live, and he's dealing with securing remote access for employees in his company to work from home, let's say, we will have a dedicated agenda for him. If someone is dealing with bring your own device, which is the latest phenomena where you bring your own device to the company and you're still entitled to use it and work with your device using company resources, we will have a dedicated agenda for you. This is something we never even thought of doing a couple of years back. Okay, that's from a content perspective. We hear what they have to say. Okay, because of all the social media stuff, we hear what they have to say and we try to respond quickly. Okay, there's no time to wait, because if something is not working right, we will hear about it and everyone will hear about it. Another example, we let them choose. We let them choose the bag. Okay, so here on our Facebook page, Cisco Live Europe, we posted the 2 finalist options. Okay, and we asked them simply say, which one do you like better, option 1, option 2? You can see here. I don't know why, but mostly they choose option 2, even though I think option 1 looks better. But that, again, my personal view. And at the end, we also changed the color from blue to green. If you remember, we saw the final bag in one of the earlier slides. Okay, so it's a lot of interaction. So it's bi-directional communication between Cisco and the customers, okay, to hear what they want to say. In some cases, some of our speakers are even asking up front, what do you like to hear? What would you like to hear in my session? So I'm giving a session on one thing. I would post it on Twitter. I would ask anyone, please give me your feedback, and he will amend the session according to the needs of the audience. Okay? This is something that a couple of years back no one would have thought is possible. And then it's all about TFIN. Okay? TFIN, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and other social media channels. Obviously, we're all using social media channels, some more, some less. I think in some cases, specifically in those events, we're overusing or abusing those channels. And I think the trick here is to really tailor the messages or the right information for the right social media channel. So things I would say on YouTube, things as Cisco Live, what should we do on Twitter, what should we do on Facebook, what should we do on LinkedIn? These are not exactly the same channels, okay? For example, with Twitter, we allow our sponsors, and we have 100 sponsors, to also tweet on our channel in Twitter. Now, some of them simply bombarded these with every 5 minutes, another tweet, another tweet, another tweet. Okay, this is not really making any, let's say, positive view from an attendee perspective. Okay, so we need to be mindful of that and think of what should we use each of those social media channels for. An example which I think is quite amusing is this one. It's actually coming from our Cisco Live US event, but I don't know, can you read? Or shall I read it for you? So basically it started with Chris Jones saying, I'm usually too busy trying to stay awake from the temperature in the room, okay? In one of the breakout rooms. So then a Cisco Live representative asks, in your experience, the room temperature is too warm or too hot? Yes, pack a room full of smelly nerds and it gets really warm in there, okay? And then Shannon, which is one of our key speakers, says, as a speaker in a usually completely full room, I watch people suffer from overheating rooms. Cold is better than hot. Okay, it's very interesting becoming this topic. And then another guy say, I bring a sweat jacket and wear it if needed. I agree cold is better than hot, and on the smelly nerds by Wednesday, blah, 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 blah. I won't read it. And then the Cisco Live guys say, thanks for your input. I have shared it with the people who manage that part of the conference. Okay? So goes to show what are the discussions about. Okay, it can be about silly or stupid thing as this one, but it does make a difference. Okay? And it sometimes does tend, so in the Excel, for example, it was bloody cold in the first 2 years because there were the doors outside. It was freezing inside, and people were coming with polo shirts to present or to exhibit. We were freezing. And then we managed to get the Excel Center to put some heat dispensers all over the building so that it will be warm. And then really last year in January, it was really warm inside, sometimes too warm. But again, this is the art of the right temperature, I would assume. Social media is everywhere, okay? So we built in every event that we do for Cisco Live, whether Europe or the US or the other one, we have a social media lounge, which always resides in a very central location. like this one. You can see here the big screen with a lot of tweets on it and stuff. So we push it out to the attendees, and we obviously pick the most interesting comments from Twitter and Facebook and post it up on stage, as well as during the customer appreciation event and the keynotes. Another tweet, or this was on Facebook. So we're doing our tests, our tastings, let's say, of the food. So we go to different caterers. We send some people from GPJ responsible for the food, and some representative from the Cisco Live team to taste the different options and decide on the menus. Okay, so here you see they've taken a picture, they put it on Facebook, and the guy said, this looks better than London. I think he meant London, obviously, but again, this looks better than London, okay, in terms of the food. Now, there's one thing here that I want, actually two things. First of all, this is where you, for example, can help us. If you're caterers, hotel providing rooms or coaching, you can send us pictures that we will post on Facebook, or you can do it yourself, okay? It doesn't need to be the Cisco people taking the pictures and posting it online. You can be more proactive, let's say, from your side, and feed us with this information to generate this overall experience on top of the educational piece. But the other thing I wanted to mention here is who went and did the tasting. Remember, the typical Cisco Live attendee is 40 years old geek. Was there any geek among those who did the tasting? It was all women from our UK office, from the London office. Okay? So I'm not sure about the selection, but we will see in Milan. Just a note. And then another trend is obviously mobile. We use it all the time. It's everywhere. And we do, as Ray mentioned earlier, we do develop a mobile app for a specific event. So you go to an event, you download the mobile app, you use it, and then you get rid of it. Because the event is over, you don't really need it anymore. We're currently doing more or less the same with Cisco Live, but the idea is for having this mobile app do more than just what a mobile app do today. Okay, this will be, let's say, the nerve system of your week, of your experience, okay? So you could use it to see what sessions are going on at the moment, where should I attend, where should I go now, what exhibitions are going on, what am I missing at the moment. You can connect for social media and that stuff, but there's a lot you can do with it. So again, Ray mentioned the proximity sensors. You go with your mobile, based on your areas of interest that you've highlighted earlier, based on your location, you can get specific feeds into your mobile telling you you should go to that session or this session, and also telling you the exact directions, okay? This is what we call connected mobile experience. I'm going with my mobile, I'm getting directions, how should I go to the room where the session that I'm interested in is currently being conducted or being offered. We're using the mobile app for something which we call second screen. So the presenter is having the slides on the screen. You can see the slides with the same build-up, with the same sequence on your mobile. You can take notes on your mobile. You can ask questions on your mobile, and someone will answer your questions instead of raising your hand and having the speaker stop the presentation and answering your question. Now, in many cases, people would rather ask a question on their mobile than raising their hands because of all different reasons, okay? But we actually tested it already in Orlando in June, in Cisco Live Orlando. It worked very well. We had a lot of questions coming up through this media. So we are using the mobile app and the mobile device for more than what it used to be doing so far. One final thing before our last thought, let's say, of today is what we're also with our technology is we are recording all the sessions. Okay, so we have more or less 30 sessions simultaneously, 12 slots throughout the day. It's almost 400 sessions or 360 sessions that are being recorded. Okay, we record them through this central control room. We have a pod with a camera on each of the room, so we don't need a guy to sit in the room and actually record the sessions. This is all being done centrally by those 3 people. Each of them controls about 10 to 12 sessions simultaneously. We record the sessions, and then we make the sessions available online for anyone, not only for those who attended Cisco Live, but for anyone through a site that is called Cisco Live 365. So if you're really into the technology, you can go there and listen to those sessions. And you can see here on the list, we have all the Cisco Live events from 2011 up to 2013 from all the areas, so the US, Latin America, Australia, and Europe. You can search for a session, and you can view the session. Okay? You can see the recording of the session and the slides. So my question is, if this is available online, I can see all the sessions that have been presented in any of the Cisco Live events. Why should I come to Cisco Live, to the event? Why should I pay $2,000 or euros to come to an event if everything is online free of charge? Why is that? Because of the experience. And it's all about the people at the end of the day, which is exactly in line with what the other speaker said, and we never exchange slides, okay? So we're all in sync, and that's good to see, because it's all about the people. Okay, this is the Cisco Live team, so my team, myself sitting, Herd, my manager, and the other members of the team. Some of you know some of them, I guess. But it's not just Cisco team. It's the Reg team, so these are temps that were doing the registration, and see how happy or smiling they are and devoted. And it's also about the one-to-one interactions on site. We still haven't figured out a way to replace it, and I doubt we will ever find a way to really replace those one-to-one interactions, whether it's this one, or that one, or this one. And as long as it's all about people and those interactions and experiences, the events will continue to exist as they are today. And I think I'm done. Thank you very much.